Welcome to Handmade Happiness, a podcast where we pause and reconnect with the traditional skills that nourish the body, mind, and soul. We're here to inspire you on your journey to live more intentionally. So grab your favorite project, pour yourself a cup of tea, and join us each week as we weave together stories, traditions, and skills that help us reconnect with what truly matters. Hey there, and welcome to the Handmade Happiness podcast. I'm Jessica.
I'm Thomas.
And we are so glad you're here today as we take a little bit of time to talk about poultry here on our homestead.
One of your favorite topics.
Yeah. They're all my favorite topics, really, let's be honest.
It's often been said that poultry are what we refer to as a gateway animal.
Yeah, chickens.
Because once you have chickens, then you decide you maybe need a duck. And then you decide maybe a pig. And then before you know it, the sheep are in the house and the cow's upset at you. And anyways.
Yeah, so let's back up to the very beginning.
Before you were hooked on chickens.
Before we had our first birds, we lived in a house on a small lot. We had less, like, a quarter acre maybe?
Yeah, like a third, I think, maybe.
And I had started canning some things. I was making things from scratch. Like we were on the road. We were starting those things, and we're talking more than 15 years ago.
Yeah, we have been married a long time. Huh?
Yeah, and some friends of ours were a little bit ahead of us on this journey.
They were a little crunchier than you.
Yeah, they were. And so my friend Megan, she had chickens, and some of our other friends started to get chickens.
And since all the cool kids were doing it, we decided to get chickens.
Well, so really how it started, one of the friends was actually moving.
Oh, yeah.
They were a military family. They were leaving the area. They were being relocated.
Yeah.
And they had some laying hens, and they had a coop. They had like the whole thing.
The whole setup.
There you go. They were just like, just come. You can pick up these chickens. They were just trying to get rid of them because they had to move within a very short window of time. Yeah. And we had been thinking about it for a while. And so we were like...
Yeah, so you're like, yeah, I'll take them.
Why not? So we got our first laying hens. And
that was a long time ago. I don't even remember how many
shortly thereafter, it wasn't too long after that Megan also had some of those white leghorns that she was getting rid of. Mm-hmm. So we ended up with a second coop with a few other layers for a little while.
Yeah. Those
layers were kind of near the end, so they didn't stick around with us very long.
I think we had them like 6 months or so, and then they were pretty much done laying. So
yeah, but
they went to Valhalla.
But on that property, we had those chickens. You ended up building us a really nice enclosed coop.
Yeah, it was overbuilt in retrospect.
But it was great. It was super easy to clean, super easy to take care of the birds. And that's kind of what got us started on chickens. And then shortly thereafter, we got turkeys and we got
bees.
Rabbits because we were like, if we're already raising...
Yeah, because how hard could it be to raise rabbits, right? If you're already doing chickens and turkeys.
Yeah.
And bees.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it got started. But backing up even further than that, we were over at Megan's house one day, the friend that gave us some of our first chickens. And we had a group that met at their house, a bunch of families with young kids. And I remember the kids just being fascinated by the chickens. And they would go out and collect the eggs. And one of the little boys came in one day. And he was like, Mom, did you know that their chickens make eggs?
The chickens lay eggs. Like, what's wrong with the chickens?
And she was like, yeah, like that's where we get our eggs from. And he's like, no, they're in the box at the grocery store. Like, what they have chicken eggs. Like, what, how crazy is this that they have chicken eggs? And I remember thinking about that. And at the time, our firstborn was really, really little. Like, we started the animals right about the time we started
she would have been
having kids too. And I remember thinking about that and thinking, like, how crazy to grow up in a world where you don't know where your food is coming from.
Yeah. And that's part of the point of even some of the things we do, is because we want our kids to be very familiar with just this, I hate to say the circle of life, right? But like,
yeah,
every time you eat a chicken, somebody had to kill a chicken. And that's not a huge factor in our life, but it's still something that you need to be aware of, right? Because it matters. You have
so
you
they
have an impact
appreciate
on
that
the world,
food
right?
that they're eating.
Right.
They realize
somebody
that
grew those vegetables, somebody chopped that chicken, somebody,
Yeah.
And so
an animal died so that you could eat it. Like there's, anyway, so that's kind of how we got started on the chickens. And we've had chickens pretty much ever since then, even with our moves to different places. We started with the chickens when we were in Mississippi.
Even in Texas.
We moved to Texas to an even smaller yard, just in a subdivision in a neighborhood. And we had, I think we were allowed by the city, they allowed us to have 5 chickens. So we had 5 chickens.
I'm pretty sure at some point we were probably, lawbreakers at some point. We had 6 chickens instead of 5 at some point. So I'm sure the feds were after us. But, and it was where we were in Texas was super hot and nothing grows there but mesquite and armadillos.
Yeah.
But the chickens did okay.
The chickens do great.
They had shade and we gave them food and water and occasionally a fan, right? Never needed a heat lamp because it just didn't get cold. But they did fine and they laid eggs.
Yeah,
and
they laid eggs. They did fine. We always loved having the fresh eggs. It's fun. The kids can go and they play with the chickens. They would feed the chickens. They would help us take care of them. They would help us gather the eggs. It was really nice during COVID when the pandemic hit and there was no eggs on the grocery store shelves that we still had eggs.
There was eggs
because
in the
we had chickens in our backyard making us eggs every single day. So we didn't have the shortage that everybody else was dealing with.
Well, and now that we're here, our reasons for having chickens are expanded even because they're not just good for the food, obviously the meat and eggs, but now we see them as more of a part of our larger holistic approach, right? Like our larger approach to managing our homestead. They're great at spreading manure. They're great at eating vegetables, scraps. They're great at
all the bugs,
killing bugs.
The ticks
They
and the
murder
things that are in
bugs
the
out of our
yard.
yard.
Yeah.
And so they have all these other side benefits in addition to the fact that they're delicious. And for that reason, we probably have more than we need. But we have 66 chickens right now. I'll just be honest. We have 66 chickens.
But wait, you gotta, okay, so let's get into more of the story now.
So that's where I'm going, right?
Here we are. Okay, so what started with just a couple of free chickens has turned into 66 chickens, and I think we still have 14 ducks and a couple of turkeys.
Despite the fact that we dispatched 13
a lot. So we
birds
have
last week. Yeah.
We have a lot of birds here right now. But they all have a purpose and there's a reason, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But one of the big differences being here versus where we've been in the past, we've never had the space to move the birds around very much. We tried a little bit, but our backyard is so small, it really didn't make much of a difference.
No, they pretty much stayed in their coop.
If we had moved them around the entire yard, they would have ended up making the entire yard bare because the yard was just really small. Now we have the space, so, this ideal of free-ranging birds and just them roaming around. And so we do have them roaming around. They're
pretty free-ranging. I mean, by every, not that I use USDA definitions for anything, but by any definition, they're free-range birds.
They're out in the yard.
They're in a fence. They're contained, but on like half an acre. So.
We've been trying to figure out now for the first time ever, how do we have this quantity of birds and how do we let them roam, but also how do we keep them safe? Because we have a lot of predators here. We hear coyotes.
Saw them last night.
Regularly. And the hawks, and I mean, there's all kinds of things. There's just the neighborhood dogs that would come and try to get the birds, our own dog.
She's a bird dog. She can't help it. Poor baby.
So we've been kind of juggling how we house them, what that looks like.
That was me. Sorry. I get fidgety.
We've been juggling how we house them and up until a few days ago, it's been a little bit of a pain, to be quite honest.
Yeah, we have the majority of our chickens are meat birds.
50,
we'll slaughter 50
of those
them for meat.
66 chickens are Freedom Rangers.
And so they're little fat chicken nuggets about the size of a football.
They're just 6 weeks old. They're little.
Just small enough to get out of virtually every enclosure, like netting or pasture, whatever.
The poultry netting? No.
Right through it. And they're super annoying because they've decided that she's mama. And so, well, any of us, because whoever feeds them is mama. And so anytime you go outside, the chickens all bum rush you like you're going to feed them.
Yeah.
And so it makes it really difficult because they don't care if they get stepped on. I mean, they'll literally just stand on your toes and
no, they're just so happy to see you.
And they're a couple of French fries short of a Happy Meal, as someone once said. So it was very difficult to manage them, right? Because you're trying to feed the ducks and the chickens, and you're trying to move the fences, and all the time, all these little chicken nuggets are just popping around, literally under your feet. You're trying not to kill them. So the logistics was really rough, but we finally have settled on.
Yeah, so we've settled on a solution. So part of the issue, and this is us also being new to this area, I ordered the Freedom Ranger meat birds. We've had Cornish cross hens in the past, which are like the typical white. The fat
kids of the chicken world.
In 8 weeks, they're fully grown and they need to be butchered because if you let them go too much past that, they start ending up with all kinds of
They can't walk. They're so fat and heavy that they can't.
They don't
their
really
legs
walk.
Won't support them.
So I know a lot of people prefer the Freedom
chickens.
Rangers because they're much more active. They actually act like a chicken. They'll go and scratch in the yard and they eat bugs and they move around. They still grow very quickly and they're very meaty birds.
They're putting on weight pretty quick. And they're heavy.
They're much more resilient. And if
they're better foragers.
If you don't butcher them right at that time, like they can hang around for a while. So if we don't want to butcher all 50 at one time, it's okay if it takes us several weeks or months even, because they're going to be healthy. They're going to be okay.
Right. We have more leeway as far as slaughter time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Cornish crosses, I'll tell you a funny story, and this is how she knows that I love her. One time I came home from work when we lived, this was in Mississippi still.
Yeah.
And there was a cracking thunderstorm. Like, I was concerned for my safety. It was not. It was right on top of us, and it was hard. And Mississippi gets pretty solid storms, kind of like here in Missouri sometimes. Yeah. And I got home, and all of her meat chickens were still on the ground.
Not in the coop.
Not
dry.
Not under in the dryish area. And our backyard ponded pretty badly. So they were in like 4 inches of water, in the lightning cracking everywhere. And a couple of the chickens had actually already died because the other chicks had just climbed on top of the nearest chick to get out of the water because they were too dumb to go underneath their coop. And so there's like dead chickens. And so I had built this coop thinking, it doesn't have to be super tall, right? It can just be this low coop because they're meat chickens. We're not going in there. Whatever. So long story short, I end up on my hands and knees in 4 inches of chicken crap water, hand putting these wet, mentally deficient chicken nuggets into their coop because they were either physically incapable or mentally incapable of doing it themselves. I almost died. And
thank God you didn't.
Yeah.
And the chickens made it.
They made it.
They
Most
ended
of them,
up in
the
the
ones that weren't already
freezer.
drowned. Yeah, but these don't do that. They're very good foragers. They literally run around the yard all day. They're much more hardy, and that's why we went with them. Just because it's just a better product. Also, I mean, what price are you paying for tender chicken? But again, they're sloppy. They're unhealthy. Honestly, the Cornish crosses are not healthy, and that doesn't translate to being good food for us. So
what I remember from our previous time raising the meat birds was having to slaughter them, and it was summertime and it was hot, and I was like, we're not doing that again. So when it came time to order birds, when we moved out here, I ordered the birds in the fall, so they arrived early September, I think. They got here maybe mid-September. They're 6 weeks, so 6 weeks ago we got the birds. And in my mind, I was thinking this is perfect because then come December, like it'll be cooling off, it'll be nice, and it'll be the perfect time to process the birds outside, and we won't have to worry about a bunch of the stuff. Well, I didn't think about brooding the chicks and having them be warm until they were fully feathered. They're just now at the place where they're fully feathered. And so now we have been able to, we have this, like a fence enclosure, kind of think of like an oversized dog kennel.
Like a big dog kennel, yeah.
But it's got chicken wire on it to keep the chickens in. And now we have a coop that you put together, and it's inside that enclosure, and it has an automatic door on it, so they're able to go in and get all cozy in the bedding at night when it's getting down into the 30s. We'll hit the 20s this weekend.
Yeah.
So they'll be nice and warm and toasty, and then in the daytime they come out, but they're enclosed in this enclosure.
You can't just run everywhere.
Because if we just have them in with the other birds, they end up all over the yard, and every time we go outside, they're under our feet. And this is working out much better, and we're able to keep them them safe.
Let's talk about the different birds that we have. So in addition to the chickens, we also have some ducks. We currently have appleyards and Rowans. And so we did that intentionally because we said, okay, let's see which one we like better. Maybe we'll decide to keep one or the other. And after cooking both of them the same way and eating both of them, they were both delicious. The Rowans, I think we decided the meat was a little higher quality.
It was a little more tender. Yeah, the texture was a little different.
But the appleyards have a fairly significant amount more.
They're heavier
of meat,
birds.
Right? They're heavier.
Birds.
So in the end, what we decided was there's not a winner, right? There's no reason for us to get rid of one or the other.
Yeah.
They both taste great. They both eat about the same in terms of cost of raising. And then we also have...
And we ended up with...
Oh, I'm sorry.
We ended up with 2 batches of appleyards and then the batch of Rowans. So what we've done is that whole first batch of appleyards is in the freezer. And all of the Rowans, except for a couple, are in the freezer. We kept a couple because I'm planning to try to keep them through the winter, I think, and
to get some eggs.
See in the spring if they'll lay eggs and raise their own so that we don't have to buy some more.
And just a side note, when you're doing all of these things, there's no rule about how you do that, or don't get caught up in thinking you need to go buy this expensive coop from Tractor Supply, or that you need to do it a certain way or a certain thing. If slaughtering your birds early works for you, do that. If housing your birds in $1,000 sheet metal chicken coop that has windows and doors and a split unit AC, like, you do you, right? But for us, our chickens are in a box that I scrounged from my work. It's a really good, sturdy plywood box. I put a cheap water roof on it to shed the water, and we bought the door for
the door cost me like $15 or something. Yeah,
and it's a great house for 15 or 20 layers to live in their entire lives. You may decide you want something really aesthetic and you want to spend some more money or more time. I don't want to build a fancy chicken coop for my birds, right? So, but if you do, that's great.
And we don't have $2,000 to buy the nice Illuma coop that I really dream about. Illuma coop.
I've seen them. They're nice.
Here if you want to send us one.
Not a sponsor yet. So, but the point being is, like, if you want to raise one of every kind of duck, great, do that.
Yeah.
If you want to raise all Rowans, do that. The point is, whatever serves your needs. For us, we want to feed our family. We want to learn and expand our knowledge of just all things homesteading, but also we want it to taste good. And so for us, having some appleyards and some Rowans, that works for now. In the future, maybe we'll have a different kind of duck. Maybe not. We're experimenting, again, with the eggs, right? We're going to see if we can get them to hatch out, because it's a lot cheaper to hatch out ducks than it is to buy ducks from the poultry farm. The point is, you do you. If you have time to hatch out ducks, great. If you don't, slaughter them, put them in the fridge, or have somebody slaughter them, right? If you're not comfortable, if you're squeamish.
Yeah, there's processors that will do all
one of
that
our daughters, ever since, I guess, when she was a little girl, she would help us pluck and all this stuff. Now that she's older and she's a teenager, her stomach just isn't there for the slaughter process. She's not against it. She just, it makes her queasy. So I get it. If that makes you queasy, pay somebody to process your ducks. Again, whatever works for you, right? That's a side note.
Yeah.
Make it work for you. Don't feel like you have to be a slave to anybody's idea of what's right or good or what works. You do what works for you.
Yeah. So we have the ducks. Those are for meat. We have the chickens, some for meat, some for laying us eggs. We had geese.
They're in the freezer too.
They're in the freezer now. I originally had this idea that I was going to keep them through the winter too and let them raise.
We had high hopes at first, like that we were like, oh, we may end up with a bunch of geese because they were really easy.
Yeah.
Right. And then
we're still figuring out the geese. And I may end up with some more geese in the spring, but I decided I did not want to have to take care of them over the winter. With this being our first winter here.
Yeah, it's just too much.
I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible so that we can learn. And, you know, this is the first time we're experiencing real winter will be this year. We've never lived somewhere with an actual winter. So,
this week it's supposed to be it's supposed to be colder this week here than it ever was when we were in Texas.
Yeah.
Ever the whole time we were there.
Yeah.
And
we're excited about it, but also
we're here for
we know that we have a lot to learn.
We're going to learn a lot, and so we don't want to experiment and be overloaded while we're experimenting. So.
Yeah. So, and then we had chickens, ducks, geese, and we have a couple of turkeys. And again, when we have royal palm turkeys. That's what we had before. I love them. They're beautiful. It's this beautiful white turkey
almost like
with some black feathers, but the majority of their feathers are white, which is nice when you're going to go pluck the bird. You don't end up seeing all of these little black pin feathers. Marks, it's all white. It's like if you had a white feathered chicken or something. They're beautiful, beautiful birds. I knew that was the kind that I wanted to get when we got here, but the hatchery that I was buying the birds from didn't have them available right away. So I got those in the fall also. And in my brain, I don't know what, I'm counting down like this many weeks for chickens and this many weeks for ducks. And I forgot that turkeys take a whole lot longer to grow out than the other birds. So our turkeys, they take like 20 to 26 weeks to grow out.
Double what the chickens take. The other thing is we had 6 of them and we're down to 2. We had 1 or 2 that just got sick. One of them, poor thing, they just got like a kennel cough kind of a situation.
They're not very
died.
hard. Yeah, they're pretty fragile when they're very young.
Well, and then of course our dog caught one of them outside the fence and chased it into the woods, and it didn't come back.
Yeah.
And I forget what the others, but anyways, I think they got sick. But the point is, we like the turkeys.
Yeah.
But
we have to. They will be with us through the winter time because they won't be ready to process till February or March.
And they're great. They forage really strong. They're real strong foragers. They're actually probably a lot nicer than all the chickens and ducks. They're way docile.
They might be our favorite birds right now.
They're super calm and chill.
So our daughter is always looking out for the younger birds, and they were some of our younger birds. So up until this point, they've been smaller than a lot of the chickens. Now they're about the same size, and they're starting to get bigger than the chickens. But they would kind of get bullied out of their food. They don't eat the food as voraciously as the other
ducks
birds
will
do.
literally kamikaze dive over each other, like head first, neck-breaking dives into the bowl of food to get a mouthful of food, whereas the turkeys will just politely kind of stick their head in if
our oldest daughter would always set aside a little portion of food just for them in a special spot. They like to roost up high, so she found this nice like high perch for them and would bring them their food. Well, now at food time, they let us feed all the other birds, and then they come and they just walk and start talking to us and peeping at us.
Yeah, they make cute noises.
Like, where's my food? Where's my food? And so they'll follow us to the...
The ducks are abusive. They're mean and abusive. They call us names. They talk about us behind our backs. In little groups. They huddle up and they like look back at you and they're like, wah, 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 wah. Where the turkeys are just like, they just whistle at you a little bit.
That sound that Donald Duck makes in all the classic cartoons, that's all of the female ducks that we have. That's literally the sound that they make when you come outside. Anytime you come outside, you're going to get squawked at. Yeah.
So again, we do all 3. You can do any mixture of those. Depends on what you want. Again,
and
the geese are...
Most of we did the geese because we've always wanted to eat goose. We wanted to try goose. Goose is really expensive.
Yeah.
If you happen to find one in a store, it's very, very expensive. And so we decided we would try to raise them ourselves just so we could taste it. So we're going to taste the ones we have. We haven't cooked one yet.
If we love it, we'll probably end up doing it.
If we love it, then we'll get more in the spring. If we don't love it, then we probably won't get any more.
Yeah, because there wouldn't be a point.
There's not a point. I'm not looking.
We know we like ducks.
I'm not looking for a guard goose, right? I don't need that on here.
And then again, the chickens. they all serve purpose. The ducks are great foragers. The ducks also eat a lot of bugs. If you have a good water source, it probably would be even easier for you to do ducks. We have a little rain pond, but it's far from the house. It's hard for us to move them back and forth safely. That pond tends to be a predator magnet, right? We have a lot of animals that move around down there. Every time we've seen coyotes, that's where they are, near the water. Yeah. So it's a lot harder for us to...
There's a lot of big brush, so it's easy for things to sneak up on the pond.
But again, for you, if you've got a nice big pretty lake where you can basically let your ducks just be out there all the time, your setup may be more conducive to that. For us, it's a little bit tricky. And so again, with the geese, if you're like, hey, you know what? I want to slaughter these for money. I'm going to do this for money. Geese are a great option. They sell for literally $80 in the grocery store. So that's a pretty good ROI for your initial cost on those pullets. But again, for us, we'll just have to see whether they taste good. Because again, our driving factor is, can we eat this? So
will our kids eat it? Do they like it?
Yeah. So get things you'll need to be successful for birds.
Okay.
You need somewhere for them to live, right? And again, we talked about that. You don't have to be fancy. It can be literally a dog house. Whatever works for you. You need to protect them from predators. They need to have somewhere to walk around where they can poop, because they do a lot of it. Fun fact, ducks don't have a sphincter. You need a place for them to live, to sleep, to forage.
To be dry. So like chickens do not like being wet. They don't like the rain. Where the ducks and the geese would be out playing in the rain, the chickens, they really, really want to be dry. So making sure you have shelter, shade.
You need to feed them. We do feed our birds in addition to them foraging and ranging. They eat a ton of bugs and grass, and they do a really pretty good job of mowing. But we do supplement them with feed. The more they're foraging, the more, again, if they have access to water, if that water has a lot of snails and minnows and things that they can eat, then like for the ducks, then you may have a lower food bill even than we do. If you have your chickens in your backyard in a pen, then you're going to essentially be feeding them all of their sustenance, and your food bill is going to be higher. So you just need to be aware of those things, that there are some costs, right? So you have, again, like any animal, you need to feed it, you need to shelter it. And the more that you can let those animals be what they are, the better, in our opinion, right? What I think Joel Salatin talks about, letting a chicken express its chickenness, right? If your birds can free range and forage and eat bugs and grass, they're going to be happier and healthier than if they're cooped up in a box. And that's the same with any animal, whether it's bees or rabbits or turkeys or cows or whatever. And then you're going to need to protect them from predators and from the elements, right? So coyotes, where we are, coyotes are a real thing here. Occasionally we might see a bobcat or a lot of aerial predators. Where we are, honestly, we don't have a lot of aerial predation yet, or at least right now that we've experienced, but most places do. And again, if the further out you get from civilization, the more likely you are to see a pretty significant hawk presence or eagles or whatever it is that you have in your area. And there's lots of ways to deal with that. We're not going to get into that in this video, but just being aware of that. And then you need to plan for moving them around. How are you going to...
If you're going to move them around.
Right. But ultimately, at some point, you're going to have to move your birds in and out of their housing, or if you're rotational grazing, do you use electric netting? Do you use a kennel, like something on skids or skis, right, where you can just drag it around, like a chicken tractor type
and like
of situation?
the more you handle your birds, especially from day one when you get them as little baby chicks,
they get used to it.
If you're out there handling them, touching them, catching them, talking to them, they know that you're the person that comes with the food. It makes it really easy for us to take care of our birds. If one of our birds was sick or did have a problem, because they are so used to us, it's not a big deal for us to catch them and be able to check their feet or check.
They're very food motivated.
Whatever's going on. But if you don't take that time to handle them,
they're a lot more skittish.
They're going to be very skittish, and if they do end up having an issue, it's harder to take care of it. So again, the more you handle them, the more social they'll be, the friendlier they'll be, the more they'll like you. Yeah.
And then you need to plan, especially if you're planning to eat them. At some point, you're going to have to have a plan for that. Are you going to process those birds? Are you going to slaughter them? Are you going to package them? Are you going to freeze them? Are you going to eat them one at a time, right? Are you going to basically just go kill a chicken and put it on the dinner table? Or are you going to do like we do and you're bagging them and freezing them and all that stuff? So you need to put some of those logistics in place before you get to slaughter day. Right?
Yeah.
Especially with ducks. Chickens, it's nice with chickens. We bought a plucker because of the ducks. We did the ducks the first time. We got through about less than half of what we had planned, and we were like, "Man, this really sucks."
We've processed chickens many times.
That's a lot.
And plucked them by hand, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Ducks, totally different story.
You scald them like 4 times as long, and they still are harder to pluck.
Yeah.
And even with the plucker, they're harder to pluck than chickens. So, again, those kind of things that you need to plan through. If you have 3 ducks and you're planning to slaughter 3 ducks, you probably don't need a plucker. If you have 60-something birds like we do, and ultimately all of those ducks and geese and chickens and everybody is going to end up in the freezer, then you're going to need a plucker. And you just need to be prepared. You need to have a good sharp knife and
really, if you're doing it for the first
table
time,
and a water hose where you can wash down.
Watch lots of videos.
Yeah.
When we got our
first
meat chickens, our meat chickens were not the first meat chickens that we processed. We went over to our friend's house. They were processing. We knew that we were going to be doing that at some point. So we asked if we could go help them. And of course, they were happy to have the help. And it was an awesome learning opportunity for us because we got to be there and they were already experienced. They knew what they were doing. So we got to learn a lot of those things. So when it came to our first time to process the chickens, it's not a big deal.
It's so much easier. And that's the value of that community, right? Is having a friend you're like, hey, can I come over and watch you kill a chicken because I've never done this before? And that might inform your decisions moving forward. If you discover you have a really strong gag reflex, because chicken has a certain smell when you open it up.
It does.
That smell of it's just, I don't know how to explain it.
When you get a gas bubble,
a good whiff of chicken steam come up out of
duck carcass
gut hole. So that might inform your decision moving forward, right? Or you might realize, hey, this is super easy. There's nothing to it, and I can do this. But just plan ahead, right? Be prepared for those things. Know what things you're going to need to have in place, because if you kill the chicken and your water's not hot yet, I got news for you. Go inside and watch a TV show, because the water's got to get hot and it's a lot of water.
It takes a long time.
You crank the propane all the way up and turn it on, and an hour later maybe you'll be ready to go. So
and no matter where you are, so you live in a neighborhood and you are interested in having birds, but you don't have very much space. You can build something simple or make something simple, purchase something simple that you can have 2 or 3 or 4 birds in your backyard that are just specifically for laying you eggs. You can have a system set up where they have enough food and water to last them a week, so that even when you go out of town, they're going to be okay. And it's literally easier than caring for a dog or any other animal. I mean, you go out, you collect the eggs once a day. If you don't make it out that day and the eggs sit there for a couple days, they're okay because they have a protective coating on them until they're washed. So super easy. So if you're considering, egg chickens is a great place to start.
It really is. I mean, we joke about being the gateway animal. But
you don't need a lot of space. You don't need a lot of time.
It's easier than a dog.
Money.
It's way easier than a kid.
It'll get you a source of fresh eggs. It gives you a place to use some of those kitchen scraps when you make something and you're chopping veggies and whatever. All of those scraps that you have can go right out to feed those birds. So you're not throwing it in the trash can. It's going to feed something that's then making you new food. Those eggs that you can then turn around and use. So it's a really good place to start.
Turning scrap vegetables into eggs, it's a pretty good exchange. Right? And like she said, it's super easy. It's super low cost. The barrier of entry is so low. And then what you're going to do is you're also building skills. So as you do those things, and as you learn how to handle them, and you learn what is that thing on my chicken's foot, as you get more comfortable with that, it broadens your abilities to do other things like meat chickens or other birds or other animals even.
Kind of gives you the confidence to be able to get into some of those other things.
And experiment. Worst case scenario, you get a bird and you realize this is stupid and I don't like this at all, and this duck is calling me names at night, and so you chop them, put them in the fridge, right? I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? You got anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. Birds are awesome.
Yeah, get some chickens.
You should get some.
Get some chickens.
You should get some birds because they're really awesome. It's been fun for us to have them. It's been fun watching the kids with them. Again, with the new ones that we've gotten since we've been here, we've learned a lot and learned how they're very different. And we're looking forward to
experiment.
Yeah, to learning more. Get different breeds. Figure out what breeds. They all have their own different personalities and temperaments. And aside from looking different, they act a little bit different. So
some people I've heard, and I've not ever witnessed this, but I've heard that some people have chickens and ducks and geese more or less as pets, and they don't actually eat them or make them pull a cart or anything useful. They just have them. They just have them.
I want to see that.
And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because you have to feed them. But I've heard it can be done. So if you're the kind of person that you eat a lot of tofu and kale and you just want to look at the pretty birds in your backyard, you know what? Do that too. It's great. Just raise some birds. They'll poop in your garden. Your kale will be the best kale you've ever had.
They'll make compost for the garden, so you can grow some things. They'll eat the scraps. They'll eat the weeds.
You can sell their eggs. If you don't eat their eggs, you can sell them and trade it for more tofu or something. But
you're so weird.
I'm just kidding. If you're vegan, it's fine. I really have nothing against vegans.
Wow. So, anything else about birds?
No, that's it. You should get some.
Okay,
we should not get some. We have plenty.
You should get some. We have plenty. And if you follow along with us, you'll see in about a month, maybe a little more than a month, we'll be processing a bunch of those meat birds. So you can watch along and see a little bit of what that process looks like. And our laying hens will be laying their first eggs very soon. So I'm excited to be posting about that before too long. We're really excited to have
no more buying eggs.
Some fresh eggs. Yeah, right from our backyard. So it's going to be good. To wrap up this topic, so there's a video up now with recipes. Several weeks ago, we cooked a turkey. Part of why I love turkey so much is you get
huge amount of meat.
So much meat off of one turkey. I can cook a turkey one time, and we literally ate off of that turkey 6 different meals. We had that meal. And then I share recipes for 5 other things. You can find it on the blog, and you can find it also. There's the video is up on YouTube.
And then I took leftovers for lunch every time too. So it was like,
oh yeah,
we
all kinds of things.
Ate turkey and turkey.
We made flautas. We made enchiladas. We made turkey and dumplings. We made turkey pot pie. We made turkey noodle soup. We made all kinds of things out of that turkey. So check that out.
Also, you have a video up about sourdough bread.
No, I'm working on that. That one's coming.
Oh,
that one's coming. It's not up yet. You can see who watches the channel.
I linked the surprise.
Man, so yeah, sourdough bread is coming. And last thing, well, I have 2 things. 2 last things.
Wrap it up, girl.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
So the quilted slipper sew along is this weekend.
This weekend.
You only have a couple days left to sign up to get in on that. We will sew slippers together live. It's a great thing. You can make them for yourself. You can make them as gifts, and which is something we're going to be talking about coming up real soon. As handmade gifts. So if you're interested in learning how to make those slippers, you can go to the website thelurklife.com and sign up for that. And
I don't sew the slippers. I'm like the model.
Okay,
I
that's
just wear
fine.
the slippers.
I'll make you some slippers. The last thing is we have our favorite things. 12 Days of Christmas, favorite things box.
The box is out.
So if you are one of those people who loves prizes and you like opening a little present like every single day.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. We have a 12 Days of Christmas box on our website now that you can purchase for yourself. It's got 12 of my favorite things that we hand make here ourselves, different deodorants and soaps and salves and a holiday jam and a homemade ornament and all kinds of fun Christmas surprises that I know you will love so much. So if you've been wanting to try out some of our stuff, there's all kinds of videos and tutorials that I've already been putting up of how you can make it yourself. And if you want to try it before you make it for yourself, you can check out our favorite things box.
It's a great way to get a good cross section of all the things that we're doing right now. So.
Yeah, so support us, help our little business. Buy yourself a 12 Days of Christmas box and buy one for your friends. And we'll be talking more about handmade gifts next time on the podcast. And I guess that's it. You have anything else to say?
No.
Thanks so much for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.
Subscribe now to Handmade Happiness so you never miss an episode, and let's find the joy in making one handmade moment at a time.